In today's video, we'll discuss the component parts of railway track, its requirements and functions. Now you can see the photograph of a railway track and the heading is given as permanent way. Now what do you mean by a permanent way? In earlier days of railway construction, contractors often laid a temporary track in order to transport the materials to the site. And once the work was completed, the temporary track was taken up. After that, a permanent way was being installed. Now, the permanent way implies or it means it is the facility which is being laid for the movement. Okay. The railway track itself was called the permanent way, or it is the another name for the railway track. Coming into the detail of permanent way, the track on the railway or railroad is also known as the permanent way. It is the structure consisting of rail. You know what rail is. Then the fasteners. In order to fasten things together in railway track, we have fasteners. As you know that screws, bolt, etc. are usually used as a fasteners. But in railway tracks, we have some fasteners which are being used in order to keep the things in position, and it includes chairs, then clamps, rail anchors, etc. So in the coming classes you will learn more about them. Okay. Then comes the railroad tie. Railroad tie means it is the sleepers. You might have seen the sleepers. That is, it is actually lying between two rail tracks and it is used to keep the correct space of gauge, the clear distance between the rail, that is known as the gauge. In order to maintain that space, in order to maintain the gauge, the railway track is being placed on the sleepers. Okay. Then comes the underlying subgrade. Subgrade is also known as the formation level. It is the underlying or it is the native material which is underneath the track. Okay. Then it can also be some imported material which is being used or which can be used as an embankment. Coming to the purpose, it is actually provided for the permanent facility of safety and quick movement of normal commercial traffic between the starting and destination stations. Then the permanent way cost nearly 40% of the total investment to the railways. Then comes the requirement of ideal permanent way. First is the alignment should be correct. You know what alignment is. That is, both in the horizontal as well as in the vertical manner it should be laid properly. Then the track should possess sufficient elasticity, sufficient lateral rigidity and stiffness so that it can withstand the lateral thrust and centrifugal forces. You know that railway track is being laid for a permanent manner, so it should have all the required or it should have all the important things like elasticity, the lateral rigidity as well as stiffness, because it has to go through a large amount of centrifugal forces and lateral thrust which is coming on them. Then the track should be designed that the load of the train should be distributed uniformly over it. Okay. Then the gauge of track should be correct and uniform. It should possess high resistance at the time of derailment. If in case some accidents happens, it should have, or it is going to happen, it should have high resistance. Then the maintenance cost should be minimum. Then the rail level should be same while on curves and proper super elevation should be provided. You know what super elevation is? You might have studied in Transportation Engineering 1. Super elevation is what? The outer edge of the curve is being banked or raised above the inner edge. Okay. Then comes the friction between the wheels of rolling stock and rail. It should be minimum. The gradient should be of uniform joints. Gradient means it is the slope or the degree with which the track goes up and down. Then the points and crossings. Points and crossings is something which is actually an arrangement for diverting the train from one track to another, or if in case it has to join to a branch line, some arrangements are to be made. That that is called the point and crossing. You will have to learn this points and crossing in the coming module. Okay, so just understand what point and crossing is. It is the arrangement which is being made so as to make the train get diverted to another track or join the branch line. Then facilities of repair, replacement of damaged portions of track should be adequate. So these are the requirements of the permanent way. Then comes the components of permanent way. So which are the main components in a permanent way? First one is rail, next is sleepers, next is fasteners, then ballast, then subgrade. So we have to go through each and every component separately. So we'll just see how the components are. In this photograph you can see the rails, sleepers, the fasteners being attached, then the ballast. Okay, so everything might be clear to you now. Again, another photograph is there to show the permanent way, the track foundation, rails, sleepers, ballast, then the native soil which is being provided, or it can be an embankment which is provided, and below this you can see the natural ground or subsoil. Now comes the first component which you have to study in detail. This is the rail. Okay, now there are three main types of railway which is being used, or which has come or which is being used. Okay, that is double-headed rail, then the bull-headed rail, then the flat-footed rail. First, coming to double-headed rail. The rail sections whose foot and head are of same dimension are called the double-headed or dumbbell rail. In the beginning, that is when rails were being widely used, this type of rail were used. Okay, in the beginning. Then comes the idea behind using this rail was that when the head was torn due to rubbing, the rail can be inverted and reused. So double-headed means here the both foot as well as head, they are of same dimension, and once the top portion is torn or worn out, what can be done? The idea was once it is being worn out due to the rubbing action of wheels, it could be inverted and can be reused. But by experience it was found that the foot could not be used as running surface because it also got corrugated under the impact of wheel load. So each and every time some transformations were being made. So in the beginning the idea was, if we are using the foot as well as head of same dimension, once the head will get damaged or once it is worn out, the bottom portion can be inverted and then it can be used as the head. But in practice it was understood that since the impact of wheel load is coming, the bottom portion cannot be used. Now this type, that is the double-headed type, okay, double-headed rails are not used in Indian railways nowadays. This is the double-headed rail. You can see here the upper table and lower table is there. Both are of dimension that is same, 70 mm. Then this height is 44 mm. You can see. So both upper table and the lower table is of same dimension. So the ideology was what? Once this gets worn out, this can be inverted and this becomes the upper table. And you can see something here. This is the chairs. Just some slides back I told you fasteners are being used, and this is the chair which is being used for placing the rails in correct position. Okay. Then comes the bull-headed rail. Here the rail section whose dimension, that is head dimension, is more than that of foot is known as bull-headed. So in the beginning, or the first type of rail was both head and foot was of same dimension. Now the second thing is head dimension is more than the foot, and this is known as bull-headed rail. Now here the head is made little thicker and stronger than the lower part by adding more metal to it, And these rails also require chairs for holding them in position. Just now in the previous slide I have shown you the chairs. So in bull-headed also we require chairs for their proper holding. Now here you can see the head table and the foot table, upper table and the lower table. Head is of having a width 68.66 and the foot is having a lower dimension of 64 mm. Here the height is 33 mm, here it is 46. So the upper table is made more thicker, and this is the difference of bull-headed from that of the double-headed. These are especially used for making points and crossings. So the arrangement which is being used for turning the trains from one track to another is points and crossings, and this bull-headed is especially used for making them. Now the merits of bull-headed rail are: it keeps better alignment and it provides more smoother and stronger track. Then it provides longer life to the wooden sleepers and greater stability to the track. Then it can easily be removed from sleepers, and hence the renewal of the track is easy. So these are the merits of using a bull-headed railway. Now coming to the demerits, bull-headed rail require additional cost of iron chair. It requires heavy maintenance cost, and it is of lesser strength and stiffness. Okay, so this is all about the bull-headed rail. Next comes the flat-footed rail. Okay, here the rail sections having their foot rolled to a flat are called flat-footed or Vignole rail. This was invented by Charles Vignole in 1836. It was initially thought that the flat-footed rail could be fixed directly to the wooden sleepers and would eliminate the chair and key required for the bull-headed rail. So each and every time new innovations were being made. So this flat-footed rail was being used, or it was thought that this can be directly fixed to the wooden sleepers. So in the earlier slides I told you that in order to keep the rail in correct position, fasteners called chairs were used. The usual chair, that is CHAIR, the spelling is same but the thing is different. Okay, chairs are being used in order to keep them in correct position. So it is actually an additional thing to be used. Okay, so when flat-footed rails were introduced, the ideology or the thought process was it can be directly fixed to the wooden sleepers, and this would eliminate the using of chairs and keys. But later on it was observed that the heavy load train caused the foot of the rail to sink into the sleepers and making the spikes loose. So the thought was it can be used, or without the usage of chair this can be utilized. The rail can be used without keeping chairs. But what happened is continuous usage caused the foot of the rail to sink into the sleepers. It started to go inside the sleeper, and this caused the spikes loose. Now spikes is something like a screw-like thing which is being used in the railway track. It is a larger nail and it is having an offset head. Okay, once you are going through the fasteners you will come across all those things. So for the time being, just think that it is a large nail which is being used in the railway track in order to fasten, and it is having an offset head. To remove this defect, steel bearing plates were used in between flat-footed rail with the wooden sleepers. So here chairs are not used, but it is used. What is being used? The steel bearing plate is being used in between the rail as well as sleeper. Now most commonly used rail type is the flat-footed rail. Now this is the figure. You can see the head portion, the 66.68 mm, the width. Then the flat foot, it is having a dimension, or it is having a width more, which is 136.53 mm. Okay, So the first one, or the first rail which came into being, was the double-headed, both of same dimension. Then came the bull-headed. There the head dimension was more compared to the lower table. Here head portion is smaller compared to the longer table. Okay, that is the below or lower table is having a dimension more. The width is more compared to the head portion. Now the merits and demerits. Here the flat-footed rails have more strength and stiffness. Just before the slide I have told you that the bull-headed is having lesser strength and stiffness. So now this is overcome by using of flat-footed railway. It is having more strength and stiffness. Here no chairs are required for holding them in position. Then they require less number of fastenings. The maintenance cost is also less compared. Then comes the demerits. What happens is, here chairs are not used and fastenings what we use is also less. But the fittings what is being used get loosened more frequently. Then here the rails are not easily removed. The bull-headed was easy in track renewal, or it can be removed or it can be changed little more easier. But when it comes to this kind, it is not easily removed and hence renewal of track becomes difficult. Then this kind is difficult to manufacture points and crossings by using these rails. Okay, these are the demerits. Now the other components, that is the sleepers, fasteners, then subgrade, all will be discussed in the coming video.